Hello, this is Dr. Taiwo Drawade from Data Gynecology, and I'm about to interview one of my patients about her results with testosterone pellet therapy. Join me. So, Courtney, how did you hear about me? How did we meet?
We met at a summer health festival in either Homewood or Flossmoor. I think it was Flossmoor.
Flossmoor.
And my husband ratted me out about my hot flashes and my menopause. So actually, he introduced me to you.
That's awesome. I remember that day I was standing by my little table with my flyers and my brochures. And he just walked up and was asking questions. And it was like, my wife has those. Because I had a questionnaire. And it was like, my wife has these. Oh, I'm going to go grab her. And then he brought her over. That's
And when you
awesome.
told me, when I walked up, he says that has something for you. And I thought, oh, because I'm a healthcare consultant. I was like, oh, maybe this will be a new contract or something.
Mhm.
And when you told me, I yelled across to him, don't tell my business.
Business. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a great story.
But it was the best introduction that he
Oh,
could have made for me.
oh,
Yes,
bless God.
very
I'm so
happy.
happy to hear that. So can you share just a little bit about the symptoms you were having that made you make this decision?
I have suffered, and I do mean suffered, with menopausal symptoms for at least 17, 18 years. The hot flashes, the fluctuation in weight gain, can and I didn't know it was a trigger, but the trigger of eating something sweet or having a glass of wine at dinner, anything was triggering. And I'm like, oh gosh, what is this? And it was an early onset, I had been told, because I have never had any children. So I've
Mm.
never bore children. And my gynecologist at the time kept saying, well, you'll be in menopause soon. You'll be in menopause soon. So probably in the last 5 years,
Mm.
I would get right to that 12-month marker and literally have a menstrual cycle onset
Mm-hmm.
and would just go into like, oh, why am I being tortured? Why am I being
Oh.
punished? What is this? So the last time it happened, I asked her and said, I need to do a hysterectomy. And she's like, no, you're almost there. You're almost there.
Wow.
And sure enough, that 11th month, I will have menstrual cycle. Like this cannot be right. Excuse me. This cannot be real. So finally, when my husband pointed you out and I did a little bit more research and you gave me an idea of what the procedure was that you would recommend, it didn't seem as intimidating because you've heard so many things about hormone replacement therapy.
Absolutely.
Oh, you grow hair, you get sick, you get this, you get that. So I had stayed away from it until now.
Mm-hmm.
But even the bladder leaks, like this is for an 80-year-old woman. I'm in my 50s. I couldn't laugh, or
Oh,
either I
geez.
had to purchase the protective wear
Yeah.
just
Oh,
to be safe. You always have to make sure that you had on undergarments. It was just like, this is ridiculous. Don't sneeze, don't laugh in your sleep, or you're hopping up.
oh my
Trying to
gosh.
say yes.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it was the last 5 years were really, really, I
Mm.
would say, torture.
Oh my gosh. I'm
That
so
is not an
sorry. I'm
understatement.
so sorry that you went through
One
that.
of the things you said to me, which I tell anybody, and I've given your name and number to a lot of
Oh,
people,
thank you.
you said, we don't have to suffer. And
Hmm.
we don't.
I
And I
completely
have not
stand by
suffered.
that. Yeah, I completely stand by that. I'm like, no, your life doesn't have to be like this just because you're going into menopause. Your
Hmm.
body doesn't have to fall apart just because you're going into menopause. There has to be something
Exactly.
we can do. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah. And a
um,
lack of sex drive, all of that was there. So all of those symptoms that we don't talk about
Mm,
were there.
absolutely.
And I had no reference because my mom is deceased. But
Mm,
when I started to experience this and I asked her about it, she never went through menopause, and my aunts and they never did. But then I realized they had hysterectomies early on. You
mm.
know, if something was wrong, then their course of action from doctors
Mm,
who probably weren't in their best interest was, oh, let's just do a hysterectomy and get rid of
mm,
that.
mm.
So that's why she never had.
Wow. Um, I'm so happy for you. I'm so sorry that we
So am
didn't meet
I.
sooner.
I would say the same.
Um, and so you mentioned hot flashes, low sex drive, sleep issues, probably from the hot flashes,
From the
not
hot
being able to
flashes.
eat all the things you want to eat and having to, and then the fear of hormone replacement therapy. Um, and so I think when we talked for the first time, I talked about testosterone versus estrogen.
Yes.
And my preference would be to do testosterone because it doesn't have all those things that scare, it doesn't have all the risks that scare people away from estrogen. And so you decided to proceed with the testosterone. Tell me how the procedure was.
The procedure was simple. It was unbelievably simple and painless. You
Oh.
know, I thought incision, okay, that means stitching, that means soreness. Yes, there was a little bit of soreness, but nothing that was like, oh, let me just take to the bed until this goes away.
Mm-mm.
Didn't even have to take aspirin, Tylenol, nothing.
That's
It
awesome.
was a very simple, and if it was 5 minutes,
Right?
you know, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, you're done.
Yes.
You're done. So the most uncomfortable part, of course, is making sure that you don't sleep or put pressure on that side.
Right.
Because I'm a toss and
A
turner.
tosser. Oh.
So yes. So I would immediately feel the impact when it was
Okay.
on that side that I'm laying on. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's still an incision. It
Mm-hmm.
still was the breaking of the skin. You still have
Mm-hmm.
to care for it.
Yeah.
But 2 days back to normal.
Awesome. Awesome. When did you start feeling better after the insertion of the testosterone pellet?
Within 2 to 3 days.
Oh, wow.
It was when you told me that I thought, oh, okay, it might be a week. You know, I'm always the one that's like, all right. You know, you tell me something's gonna happen in 24 hours. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 72. But actually, it was almost immediately.
Oh my gosh.
I could tell the difference
Wow.
immediately. Like even mentally, it's that
Mm,
clarity. And I forgot to mention the brain fog.
mm,
That clarity was just magnificent. You
wow.
know, and it was more than walk into a room and don't know what you came into the room for.
Wow.
It was more of, oh my goodness, I should know this person's name. I've known them for years. I should know their this name.
Wow.
And it was just baffling to me. But that clarity was almost immediately.
That's
Brain
amazing.
fog is real.
It is. It is. And you're saying the same things I hear from my patients, walking into a room and not knowing what I came in here for, talking to somebody that I've known for a long time and I can't place their name. It's
Mhm.
literally what a lot of, I would say 90% of my patients experience. And so
And
that,
mentally, I would see myself like walking through my brain, trying to research and find that person's
wow.
name. And
Wow.
it was just awful. Or trying to remember something in a meeting, or, you know, it'll be there and 2 seconds later it's gone. And you're like, how did I forget something as profound as what I needed to say? So
Wow.
then that puts in another aspect
Mhm.
professionally.
Yep.
You kind of start to shut down and kind of just not want to comment because you then also
Mm.
lose your train of thought. Like, oh my goodness, where was I going with that point?
Wow. Wow.
But
Wow.
the mental clarity was almost immediately also.
Oh my gosh. I mean, for
Yes.
professional women having to deal with that in a professional setting, one of my patients is a banker and was working with figures. One was an accountant and was like, I can't focus, And so I'm
Mhm.
really, really, even though I know the results, when I hear you talk about it,
Yes,
I'm just
because we're
marveling.
living beings. We can
That's
tell you
awesome.
our testimonies.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how long would you say the pellets lasted you?
Almost to 3 months.
Okay.
To the what you diagnosed and what to expect has been right on point.
Oh,
Everything that you have said, this will happen, this will occur, be aware of this, make sure that you come back as you're scheduled
yeah.
and go from there. But yes, almost I mean, I can't sing your praises high
Oh
enough
my gosh, thank you.
because you have been very, very honest. And just the knowing what would occur.
Mm,
Because when I first started researching this, I had another product that was in mind. I scheduled an
mm,
appointment with this pain management doctor who was authorized to administer this medication.
oh.
And when I left there, I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back here. He knew nothing about women. He probably
Mm,
is fantastic in pain management. I was asking questions, about the thickness of the uterus, which you recommended
mm,
also, and I did that. Breakthrough bleeding, when you
mm.
have this, when you have that, and this man knew nothing about the
Wow.
vagina. And I'm like, but you're pain management, so I should have
Right,
known better.
right.
So I trust you
Thank
wholeheartedly. And
you.
like I said, I've given them your name out a million times. I'm like, here's the information, go for it.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. And I think my fulfillment is, you know, transforming women's lives, just seeing that change, just seeing that this is the problem, we solve it, and you become the person you want to be. It gives me such satisfaction. So I'm so pleased.
Yes.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
And you mentioned those other professions, and like I said, I'm a consultant. So
Mm,
my clients are looking at me like,
right.
what's your advice?
Wow.
I have it in my head, but I couldn't get it out
Oh my God.
because of that brain fog and one of the symptoms.
How frustrating. How frustrating.
Very, very.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh, and the mood swings.
Oh, yes. Yes.
My
Yes. My
husband is
patients
no
would
longer
say,
at risk.
I was going to say that. My patients would be like, my husband thinks I'm angry. My children think I'm mean.
He's no longer at risk of off with your head.
Awesome. Oh, what about sex drive?
Sex drive has increased 1,000-fold.
Wow.
Increase, and you also warned of that,
Yep.
and we've managed to come to an equilibrium, but that part that part has been really, really encouraging. 'Cause I
Oh,
don't care what anyone says, if you don't have some level of intimacy in your
mm,
marriage, then it's going to suffer.
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not going to say it's doomed, but it will suffer.
Hmm.
And we had some challenges.
Mm,
We've only been married 2 years, but we've been together for a long time. So he's seen me go from, whoa, this vibrant person to
mm.
perimenopause to menopause and now back again.
Hey,
So it has given us that new life in our marriage.
that is so good to hear. That is like my mission in life.
Like tap on the shoulder.
Hey. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this. It means a lot to me. I'm so happy. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
You're welcome. Anything I can do to help to promote you
Thank you.
is what I will do. And I have to admit, at first I was a little apprehensive. She
Hmm.
is probably 20 years old. What would she know about this? But you, like I said, right on spot,
Mm,
educated, you
thank
listen, you take your time. I don't feel like, oh, I'm in this office and she's going to rush me out.
mm,
You are just fantastic. I cannot sing your praises loud enough.
thank you so
I
much.
am so proud to be your patient.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
Yes, me too. And
Oh,
this is how important you were to me.
Mm.
that I was not in your insurance,
Right.
whatever they
Yeah.
call that.
Network.
So
Right.
in your network, I paid out of pocket because my first initial conversation with you at that health fair, when
Mm.
I walked away, I knew that you knew what you were doing and what you were
Oh.
talking about. And I paid cash.
And I thank you for it.
It was well worth it.
But now I'm in your
Well
network,
worth
so
it.
it you know, a win-win.
Yes. Yes, it is. So thank you.
Thank you for taking the first step. I
Welcome.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You're
Oh, this
so
has been so
welcome.
good, so fulfilling. Thank you so much for sharing. It means the
You're
world to me.
welcome.
It does. It does. Anything else you want to share?
No, I just say, ladies, if you run across this on YouTube and the doctor, run to see her. Run to see her. The office, the staff, they're very well knowledge, very professional, timely. You're not going to be sitting in there watching 10 people go in front of you. And I appreciate that because you
Thank,
value our time, which makes me value your time,
thank you.
which
Oh,
is why I'm always like, I am going to be on time for this appointment. Because I know that you don't have 10 people sitting there waiting. Like, okay, if I get there at 2 o'clock, she's not going to see me till 2:30, so I can be late. It is not
no,
like that.
no,
If
not at all.
just please go and see, make this doctor your doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Dr. Rawadi.
Thank you so much.